Hello everybody, my name is Joshua Owen.
I'm Cassie Solis.
And as you know, we are doing interviews with our students to tell the story of global youth through your eyes, and it's awesome. So we got Luca and we've got Cassie. Cassie, thank you for doing this with us.
Yeah, excited to be here.
So if you don't know, if you don't watch the other video, we're going to be telling the story of global youth through the eyes of our actual students. They're going to be as raw as possible. This one, you're going to have to bear with me. I am interviewing her. But going forward, they're going to be running the show. So you'll get like the actual raw first-person perspective of what it's like to be a global youth student and go on this crazy journey that you signed up for. Who knows why, right?
Right.
But that's what we're going to dig into today. Why? So for you, kind of my first question is like, why global you? Like, what is global you to you in your own words? Like, how would you describe it?
I would say, I think the first thought when I heard about Global U was this hybrid, because I had previously been in a pretty much purely missions organization, and that was great. Like, they had such a heart for missions, but there was this other part of me that was very eager to work with my hands and challenge my mind, and that part of me just wasn't quite being fulfilled. And when I first heard about Global U and saw the vision for it, saw where like the organization and the school was going and had the potential to go, and their heart for the students, I was like, oh, this is it. This is the hybrid for someone that, like me, that doesn't really necessarily fit into the mold of the places they've been in previously.
Yeah, definitely. And this is actually pretty interesting comparing you to, say, Luca, not that we're getting into comparison, but you came from the world of missions. Luca kind of came from the world of like engineering, but y'all are peers here, and we're going on the same journey in the same direction. It's like, okay, how does that even match up?
Yeah.
So talk to me about your experience a little bit, because, you know, a little bit similar. I was in engineering first, then went into missions, and then came back into this hybrid approach. For you, like, you know, the pure mission world, and we love it, right? We love pastoral missions, but people who are wired like us, maybe, and I don't want to put words into your mouth, it's hard to find our place in that world. So like, why did you want to go into more of like a builder space, more of a technical space with your mission work?
Yeah, so after I left this missions organization as a student, I was a student with them, I was home for a year and really took this year to dive into like what God had put inside of me, skill sets, passions, dreams, or lack thereof. And I just really wanted to figure out, okay, where is my life going? Because I have this huge heart for missions now, know that I'm called to it in some form or fashion, just not in the traditional sense that I'd been exposed to. So what am I supposed to do with these pieces that keep coming up? That kind of speak to the more cerebral side of me, or the desire to learn a hard skill to then apply, so that way I don't have to live off of support, because I really didn't feel called to live off of support.
Yeah.
I wanted to be available with my resources, my time, my finances, and nothing that I had seen so far just fit that or could cultivate that. And there were other parts of me, like storytelling and the desire to learn new language. When I was exposed to coding, I was like, oh, this is like learning a new language. And don't judge me, I love math, I love algebra, I love pre-cal. And that kind of like coding actually spoke to those parts of me and made sense. And so when I realized that Global U actually also spoke to those parts of me, I was ecstatic.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh my gosh, like there is a place where these pieces make sense. Like I'm not crazy. This isn't a one-off, like coincidental thing that I'm supposed to shove down for the sake of practicality or for the sake of fitting into the mold or the model that was set before me. So.
Definitely. Well, it's interesting too. So we kind of get to this place where, and it sounds like you're called to missions, and then you went on missions and you're like, okay, I've got all these skill sets the Lord gave me in the first place, right, to get me somewhere. And I'm assuming there's like some dream that the Lord has given you that you want to see into completion, or you want to find that dream. Like, let's rewind the clock a little bit. Like, who are you, Cassie? And like, why did God make you? And why are you going on this journey, which is a pretty crazy journey, to be honest. So what do you want to see come into the world?
Oof. So the desire, it's so hard to articulate this desire, but from a very, very, very young age, I knew that I wanted to be part of something so much bigger than myself. It took up a lot of my mind space, took up my dreams, like daydreaming, and when I was asleep, I would dream of being part of something bigger. You know, watching those movies where people are part of like this movement, that got me going. When I was younger, I didn't have the context of like Jesus and God and to like fit those pieces together. And so as I got older and was able to do that, I really, really, more than anything, want to see the kingdom of heaven unfold on earth. And I'm here in Global U because I want to find out my role in that. And to me, like a lot of the principles that are taught in Global U through all of the spheres, like entrepreneurship, the spiritual development, the growth coaching, like, I just lost my train of thought.
You're good.
Those are, I feel like that's super applicable to unfolding the kingdom of God on earth, you know? And actually, this is kind of strange, and I'm still trying to figure out how this fits in, but one way, like one dream that I have that I actually think Global U will really help me foster and figure out is diplomacy, and like applying entrepreneurship principles and the mindset. I feel like the mindset change is super important, but to diplomacy and to changing the world and bringing the kingdom of God through diplomacy and meeting the needs of the people wherever I'm at, like in front of me, speaking to them and what they actually need.
Let's unpack that a little bit, right?
Okay.
So like diplomacy, what do you define that word for yourself and what you mean through that, and kind of what you're hoping to see come out of it, right? And that's like the beauty of it, right? Where we're going on this journey, we don't have all the answers. That's why we're going on a journey.
Yeah.
A lot of times the Lord doesn't give us an answer. He just asks us to like follow Him with faith, and we get to unpack that over the next 9 months. So this will be like a continual journey. We don't have to have all the answers, but for you, like if you're gonna put some words to that and more define it, how would you do that?
So diplomacy, to me, it's funny. I've always said this and never really understood it. I've always said I hate politics,
Sure.
but I love diplomacy. And I think diplomacy brings in this relational aspect that is lacking in like the stigma of politics.
Yeah.
So to me, diplomacy is this connection, this relationship between countries, people groups, cultures, languages, and really speaks into building up that relationship. And to me, that's so for the kingdom, you know, like the kingdom is one, it's unified, it's supposed to be unified, you know.
Yeah.
There's this solidarity, this unity that we see in the Bible, that we see in the stories when we read those. And to me, like, what, I don't know, my question is like, why wouldn't we be living that out for the kingdom, you know, today? Like, why should today look any different than it did back then, except with, you know, technological advancements?
Yeah, definitely.
So
That's amazing. Well, guys, I just want to, this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to be doing this every other week. We're going to see your story unfold. We'll see some of the other student stories unfold through your own eyes as we try to seek that out, right? We all get we believe at Global, like everybody's going to have a calling. Everybody's going to have a purpose. Like he didn't have to make this, but he did. So why did he do it? And that's kind of a lot of what our network is about, is one, like, what has the Lord called you to do? What does he want to do in the world that we can partner with? And why did he create you? And then how do we see this thing come to life? And how do we bring in mentors? How do we bring in peers? How do we bring in a network to help get that dream into reality? So who knows if it'll happen? I'm sure it will. Hopefully that's how the story plays out. But there is intention. Like there is a lot of risk for failure here.
yeah.
You're taking a risk. Every student here is taking a risk where we're going to actually try to do the thing. And we'd like to invite you along in that process. So thank you guys, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.